Can't believe we're talking about it again, but it's true. People are talking about the possibility of Apple making an actual TV set again. Remember a long time ago when Steve Jobs said, we cracked it, we cracked the TV thing, and then everyone speculated, oh, Apple's maybe making an actual TV set, and then a long time later, we never ended up with that. Well, the debate is on again, especially in social media, because it's rumored, once again, that Apple's considering building its own TV set distinct from the streaming service and distinct from the box. I mean, let's just be honest. If Apple did produce a TV set, it would probably look amazing compared to what we already have on the market from Samsung, from LG. If the only thing that distinguished and differentiated an actual Apple television set was the Apple aesthetic being applied to the design of the industrial design itself, I mean, that would be enough probably to sell a crap load of these devices. Just being honest. Now, on top of that, I would expect Apple to actually continue to innovate. They've sort of vertically integrated everything but the actual TV set. They've got the content now, which I don't watch. People are surprised. You know, I haven't signed up for that. I don't ever like dip in and watch it. People are like, Chris, you? But it's true. But I do have several of the boxes, the Apple TV boxes laying around the house. What you're looking at right now is a Samsung, and already it's like basically bezel-less. You know, what distinguishes this? You know, it could be any brand name on the back. I have some LGs around and I really do actually like them in terms of the quality, the picture quality. What's one thing I don't like about my current TVs? Well, I don't like how much data they mine. I don't like how you have to go in and turn off some of the environmental settings just to get the full picture quality out of them. You know, like right out of the box. It's weird. I didn't even know about that, but somebody told me like, Chris, you should turn off this and that setting on your LG, this super top of the line LG, to get the most out of it. And it turned out, yeah, they were right. And oh, now it looks better. The screen's like always dimming and stuff. It's weird. So there's definitely room to improve over the top of the line models on the market right now. But seriously, people are super skeptical, even with Apple's know-how, of them entering a super saturated market and being able to make a splash, being able to make a difference. If Apple actually came out with their own TV and they ended up integrating seamlessly that TV set with all their other Apple products and maybe integrating with Apple HomeKit, right? For a more seamless home experience, more like a home hub. We've already heard about Apple maybe potentially considering like home robotics and stuff. On the one hand, this really makes a lot of sense. If you stop and think about it, it's really like, why hasn't Apple done this? And I think probably part of the reason is like, this is such low-hanging fruit in a way that it's almost like beneath Apple to get in, because it would feel like they just want a ton of extra money, which they probably do. Apple already has some amazing displays. We've been talking about here on the channel, the Pro Display XDR V2 that's potentially coming down the pike. You know, the iPad Pro already has an OLED panel that looks great as well. And let's not forget about the Vision Pro. That's kind of a TV set by a different name. It's like a watching experience that you just get fully immersed in. So really it makes sense if you think about it. This rumor has a ton of critics though, and I get it. A lot of people are like, look, Apple abandons projects all the time. They start stuff. There was the car project. It was on, it was off, on again, off again. You know, did it ever exist? Like Project Titan, obviously it was a thing. But, you know, Apple does tend to signal that it's getting into stuff, try to take stuff seriously and let it go for whatever reason. But Apple could drop their own silicon in there very easily and do something a little bit different. But I think the main critique of this is, and this is probably has a little bit of legs to say, it's like, well, is there really a necessity from a market standpoint? Apple might want to do it, but will the market support it? And I get that necessity angle, because what would be different than just plugging in an Apple TV box into a really nice panel like Samsung or LG already provide, or honestly, a number of other TV manufacturers? What would be all that different? Apple's really great about integrating hardware and software. Now, if someone's sitting there trying to solve this problem, really think deeply about it, a whole team at Apple, I don't think that they wouldn't come up with something that would be pretty compelling and cool. They invented the Vision OS system from scratch, and it's pretty magical, right? I'm sure there's some innovation that they could do around AirPlay, for instance, maybe with like a web browser, bring Safari in, just more seamless syncing between your iPhone and your devices, probably. But the Apple TV box already shows us what Apple's idea of a really great interface looks like. We see that with tvOS. Could they do some sort of innovation around the fitness angle with the Apple Watch, tie it into your TV? Maybe. Probably some room to do some cool stuff with Apple Music. They do have a lot of content. Certainly Apple Arcade, like people talk about, for the longest time, what if Apple got into gaming? Well, what if this TV just shipped and it was an Apple Arcade machine? They're already doing some interesting stuff. If you can pair your iPhone with your Apple TV 4K for like a FaceTime like experience, well, what if that was just built in, right? What if it was a HomePod or two already, like what if that soundbar sort of setup was integrated? It was like a HomePod combined into the TV. My take actually, as we go through some of the stuff that I'm showing you, is that this seems like something I could see Apple maybe wanting to get into. And it seems like something that would make sense. Apple is really good about saturating your home with Apple stuff. Outside of the home, I think Apple struggles a little bit, but this is inside the home. This is Apple's territory, Apple's domain. They thrive here. And so to be able to expand their offering here, I think a ton of people would drain their bank account almost instantly upon the announcement of this, especially as Apple actually starts to develop Siri LLM, which isn't coming now probably till 2026. A better Siri experience would be an upgrade over what you get, baked in on even a very nice, top of the line LG or Samsung. I don't actually think that Apple would be likely to make any of their shows, their content exclusive to a TV set, because it just came out recently that they were going to do some partnerships so that some of their movies weren't locked into just Apple TV Plus. They could get sort of a wider audience. I think though that as I look at what Samsung offers, LG, Apple does have room to differentiate, to distinguish. What if Mac OS or iPad OS or something could load right on there instead of TV OS, just combine, your keyboard. So my question to you is, number one, are you still interested in this, or has it kind of tapped out? Is it played out? You're not really feeling this vibe anymore. There's enough on the market to hold your interest, or is this something based on what we've been talking about that you wish Apple would still pursue? I think like anything, there's the chance for Apple to bring some of their magic here and maybe even redefine what somebody thinks of or means when they say the word TV, like television set. So I actually think this might still be worth pursuing, to be honest, but give me your take down in the comments.